Dr. John Demartini started explaining that 1% or less makes financial independence. That means 99% of people are living in a delusion. If you ask them what they are going to do if you gave them $10 million, for example, what would they do with their life? He guarantees that 2 to 8 million of that will be spent in less than a minute. If you ask them what they would do if they had $10 million, they will write down everything. They'd buy that car they had been dreaming about, they'd go on that trip, or they'd buy this property they'd been looking for months already. It was all consumers, all depreciable and devaluing. As long as they spend their money on depreciable and consumables, they really don't have a real desire to build wealth. But what they should do is actually to invest it and buy things that appreciate value if they want to be wealthy. If you want to be wealthy, first of all, you want to find out whatever you've done in your life, how it served you and how it served others, and clear out any shame or guilt. Then, you want to sit down and ask what it is that you're really going to do because you're not going to get wealthy unless you're serving people. If you are not dedicated to serving people, you have a fantasy we call wealth. You need to make sure that you really have value in serving people. You need to have value in wealth because if you don't really have value in wealth, you'll spend it. If you have more of a value on spending it than saving it and investing, it's going to keep going out of the window. Because the money circulates through the economy from those who value it at least to those who value it most of the time. You have to value wealth building more than spending. You have to value serving people more than just taking from them. You also have to be able to be dedicated to something that's really congruent with your values, or you won't stay with it. You won't build momentum and perseverance towards an accomplishment. And people who have a forced automatic saving in place and are willing to consistently study and research because they value wealth building. People are really committed to wealth building are those who study it, research it, get mentors under it, and apply what they learned. They have forced savings and investment structures in place. They are those who are constantly trying to serve people, and they want to build a business to last. What happens is every human being lives by a set of priorities, a set of values, things that are most important to the least important in their life. Whenever they set goals that are congruent to align with their highest values, they become the most powerful and effective people. This is when they're the most grateful and the most resilient ones. This is also when they're most disciplined and most fulfilled in their life. Whenever they're living by lower values and trying to inject the values of others or minimize themselves and live by more inadequate value systems, they procrastinate, hesitate, and they become frustrated. They become victims of their history, not masters of their destiny. Look at how people fill their space. You look at how they spend their time. You look at what they're disciplined about focusing on. You look at where they're most organized. You look at where they spend the most money. You look at what energizes them the most. You look at what they think about, visualize, affirm, and converse with others about most that align with what they're creating in life. Look at what they're inspired by, their goals, and what they love learning. If you look and find the common threads to those questions, it will narrow down to what you're dedicated to and what you spontaneously can't wait to get up in the morning and do. Bill Pollock, who owns Drake Corporation, told him, and he said, "Since 1951, after I found out what I love doing, I've never worked a day since." In addition, an entrepreneur also has to find out what their targeted market's highest values are to ensure that they're providing a service that meets those specific needs. So determining your values and other people's values that you want to serve is essential because you're here to find something that helps others but is also meaningful to you. If you find those two, you've got your niche. Because everybody has a set of priorities and a set of values in their life. When you go down the list of values to lower values, you're less inspired and less fulfilled by doing them. You procrastinate doing them. What happens is you'll only do them if it's pleasurable, and if it's not, you'll give up. So it's the key to ensure that everything you do is the highest priority and the most meaningful thing to you so you will not give up. You have resilience, embrace pain and pleasure, and pursue a great purpose. If you are not living by your highest values because you're willing to do it with pleasure only and want to give up on its pain, you'll need motivation all the time. The difference between inspiration, which is from within, is people who are inspired from within are living by their highest values, while people that need motivation are people that haven't found the highest value, or they live by lower values and need constant incentives and motivation and only pleasure to keep them going. He thinks motivation is a symptom more than a solution. Our animal nature needs motivation, but our truest nature, our human nature, allows us to function from an inner core mission that transcends, that allows us to be able to embrace pain, pleasure, support, challenges, difficulties, and complementary pair of opposites that you face along the way. You turn into on the way. Every human being makes decisions according to what will give them the greatest advantage over the disadvantage, greatest reward of a risk to their highest values. So if you expect yourself to do something that's not meaningful to you, it sounds like a neat whim, but it's not you. You're going to end up self-defeating and end up with the ABCDs of negativity. Those are internal anger and aggression, internal blame and feelings of betrayal, internal criticism and challenge, internal despondency, despair, and depression. These ABCDs of negativity that you internally have, which some people call negative self-talk and negative self-behavior, are actually feedback mechanisms to make sure we're setting realistic expectations that are aligned with our real values. Those are the keys when you do have realistic expectations. You keep showing effort and evidence of manifesting what you want to manifest. The wisest thing to do is to start with simple goals that you achieve and train yourself to do what you say. If you teach yourself to do what you say, your little action steps become big dreams. If you live congruently with your highest values, you have the highest probability of achievement, and you won't give up on your goals. So if you set goals that are congruent and that are truly meaningful to you, and you start digesting them down into small enough bites, you just keep doing things and keep rewarding yourself by accomplishing immediate steps. You'll end up manifesting things because you just strategize your way into the bigger game. If you stay perseverant toward an objective and exemplify action every day toward your objective sooner, everybody else will slow down while you're at the top. Procrastination is a result of three primary things. It's an unclear vision. It is a plan that is not realistic and doable, and it's not linked to your highest values. To procrastinate means to be delusional. He is a rational guy that sets real goals in real time with a balanced orientation, and he accomplishes more by doing it. What he does is he asks questions that he learned to self-govern himself back down into the center. And if he had a low day, and he would ask questions to himself like, what did I accomplish? Who did I serve? What names did I remember? He would self-regulate, so he would neutralize and steady himself. He also forced in savings. He didn't wait for profits, but instead forced profits in. He paid himself first. It increases the association's opportunities and alignments with greater opportunities in business. And he made sure that his focus was on the priorities each day. If you're doing what you love, just like Peter Lynch said, if you're grateful for your job and if you love what you're doing, and if you're inspired by the vision and you're enthusiastically working, that company is going up in value. If you're going to buy a stock that you visited the company and see those four things. If those four things are in place, the company is going to go up. Remember these. People committed to wealth building are those who study it, research it, get mentors under it, and apply what they learned. You have to start shifting your mind and train it to think that way so you will have success in life. Don't allow yourself to think about the negativity, but think of practical, realistic, clear-sighted, true to life, close, genuine, reasonable, and time-bound ways to help yourself to be motivated every time. Learn from people who have gone ahead of you from what they learned from experience. See what you can get from that and apply it to yourself. If others can do it, you can also try it and see how it will improve your life.